Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to DreamHack Open Summer. It's the third map of the first semi-final here in the European region, and Complexity start things off well with a one-sided win over on Vertigo, but a huge answer back from Heroic heading into map number 2. And now on Overpass, it's anybody's game, Alex.
Yeah, I was a bit worried we were going to end up passing over Overpass with how the first map went for Complexity, but Heroic have brought us here, and now we get to see who is going to be hot to trot on this map. As the desk was pointing out, we have seen Complexity on this map before. Only the one time, though, they did get the win. Let's see if they can keep up that 100% win rate in the one game they've played so far. We're underway into the last map of this first semi-final. Let's get into it.
A grand final spot up for grabs for both of these teams. Just one more map stands between them. One exits the tournament. The next heads the final two spots. And Walkadian going through the tunnel. This is an aggressive play that Obo is just not going to be ready for. But he turns around and he still finds the headshot. Luckily, there was two players bunched up in the tunnel. So it resulted in a trade kill for Heroic. Still even, but now the pressure's on towards this B bomb site.
Ooh, Nico fully blinded and Stout struggling on the site itself. The trade's looking good for Complexity. They've got the advantage. They've got themselves the free bomb site. The bomb should be planted any second now. And even though there is that kit dropped on the site, Heroic still have to be pretty quick at getting these kills. You can see Blame F is just going to sit back, Poison alongside him. They've got these angles. Blame F now backing away. Rush also going for the peak. There's just too many angles to deal with. Rush closes it out with the 2 kills at the end. And Complexity get off to a good start. They did win the pistols on Mirage though, Dinko, and then struggled on the second round.
Which is usually something we attest to Complexity, right? We always talk about the statistic in terms of being so solid at winning those second round force buys. But when they've fallen to them as well here over a Mirage, there's a pretty scary scoreline after winning both pistol rounds. Nonetheless, though, they get off to a good start. And if they can pick this one up, then we're looking at a different Complexity coming into Overpass. They need a good start. I think I'm still going to favor Complexity coming into this final map. I think Heroic is a very solid roster, but I think Complexity are probably just a little edge better than them on a map that they show up on. So hopefully we see the Complexity of Vertigo coming into this final map. I don't want to see them fall flat again and just have Blame F showing up. The rest of the team, I want to see that different. I don't want to see any difference in kill disparity. I want to see everybody around the same, fragging all across the board. That's the Complexity we love to see.
Yeah, we want to see the Complexity of Vertigo and then the Heroic of Mirage. And then we'll have a great map, right? We'll have a really close one.
Exactly.
That's what we all want to see. Hopefully we can get it here because Heroic have got themselves a force buy into this second round. A couple of AKs out for the Complexity side. Config and Poison currently having those in their hands. Flashbang for Cadian could be well timed there. Tessus about to go for the fight. Oh, the flash is so good. Tessus is able to get the kill, even if it takes him some time. Configs, though, able to get that trade, and the AK should still firmly be in the hands of the Complexity side. They move into A, though. There's an attack here. Borit with 2 kills. Nico assists on both of them, and Nico comes into play. It's Config with 2 kills back, making a third. Config going for the fight, but Nico gets it away from him. So close from Config, but not today. Heroic win that second round, and again, this second round continues to plague Complexity.
That's unbelievable from Complexity. The fact that they choked that again. Config nearly pulls off the ace. He gets the 4K. He needed just one more to secure victory, to save the day for the team. But it doesn't work out for them. Complexity again falling to the Deagles. They walk right into Borup. And now Complexity, they're on the Deagles themselves. They have to try and turn this one around. They cannot let that happen time and time again. It's unreal how often it's come through now. Heroic. That's definitely something nice to have up their sleeve, Alex. If you can lose the pistol rounds, but always rely on your team to show up in the second round force buy, you're going to be having yourselves a great time at the start of these games.
Oh, Complexity have been given a taste of their own medicine with these second round losses throughout these recent maps. Maybe they can do a bit of work with the Deags themselves. Again, if you have just joined us, we're on the final map of this series. Smoke goes down to Monster. We're also getting to see what heroic setups are going to be like on this overpass. You can see right now they've actually got 3 players stacked in the bathrooms, which is quite uncommon to have on this CT side. It leaves the B site a bit vulnerable, but as heroics start to push through, they're going to realize A is completely clear.
Test this. Making his way down with Kitty and beside him on the MP9. The door's about to swing open. Blimf is there. Oh, the kill down into what's short for Testis and Kitty. But the kills, they're in on him for Config and Poison. But still, Heroic coming out on top. 20 seconds left in the timer as Rush moves forward, cutting through one. And the second as well on the MP9. It's just Nico. A 1 versus 2 needed with the AK. And there's 12 seconds. They have to run for the bomb plant. They have to plant immediately. And Nico with the first kill. He'll throw the nade down onto Rush. And that's not going to do enough damage. But it drops him to 4. And 1 more bullet, and Nico secures it. It's the headshot right between the eyes. The 1 versus 2 clutch to deliver Heroic a second round. Complexity. It looked like they had done enough. It looked like they were going to pull it off, but Nico says no.
Yeah, I think we might see more of those sorts of plays from Heroic where they take a few risks, pushing through the bathrooms, pushing down Connector. And even though it turned into a somewhat scrappy affair, those initial kills to begin with on short certainly helped them out. And then Nico keeps his cool in the clutch. Both headshots being delivered at the end there for his team. Again, he's always Mr. Reliable for me, Nico, on the Heroic side. I always feel like you're going to get a decent performance out of him at the very least. Right now, we're getting a great performance out of him in these first 2 rounds. But Complexity still have money to get the buy going, Dinko. They've got the AKs out. They're not going to be giving this up without a fight.
Oh, it's down. Spraying away. Config just jumping, trying to get around the corner. He's going to do it. He stays alive. That's a new M4 skin I haven't seen before. Pretty cool. Rush. He's got the AK on the other end of the monster tunnel. Oh. That was intended for the barrels, but the geometry doesn't quite work out, and that's going to stop Complexity from moving in. Actually, it's going to come back to bite them heavily. They're held back completely, and Complexity, they needed this round win, but they fumbled it a little bit. And Obo, he's going to be sprayed down to 10 HP. Mental how a failed piece of utility can affect him so badly, and it's down. Just 1 bullet, just peeks out, taps Poison away, and now Obo in low HP. Follows suit as Config, who nearly died at the start of this round in towards Connector. There's only 1 kill for Complexity so far in this round. Config changes that. He gets the follow-up, but 3-1. Heroic just dominant in that round. Complexity, they fumbled that execute a little bit. I think Obo missed the Molotov, and that potentially caused a few issues for them. But Heroic overall just shutting them down.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that boost in Connector as well, because that's something we saw Blamef going for on Overpass on the CT side in Complexity's opening game of this tournament. But this time it was used against him. It was Nico who got that kill from the boost in Connector to spot into B short. Yeah, Heroic putting in a shift at the start of this game. Nico especially having a good start alongside Stown, as you said. A couple of the players showing up in that previous round. Complexity unable to buy too much into this one. Deegs across the board. Config still going for that jump up. Finally decides it's not happening for him. I think he got up there for a split second. He might have fallen off. This is normally a good angle. You see Texas can just spot over the top of the smoke and do a bit of damage to Config, who emerges from the top of Connector. A bit more damage done as well. So Complexity already softened up slightly before they can move towards a site. Got themselves into bathrooms safely, though. They're starting to put some players over at A long. The problem for Complexity is not only are they running into 3 CTs, but they also have no nades to try and clear them out.
Oh, flash on it, Kitty. Taking 1 kill, Rush gone. Good opening kill for Heroic, and they hold on to it without any resistance from Complexity. No signs of a trade kill. Complexity starts to move forward, realizing the A-bomb site is their only option with 20 seconds left. But look how ready Heroic are. They have a boost with Testis up here. That should confirm at least 1 more kill. And he comes off the boost after that initial fry. Nico with the spray down, finds 3. That's perfect from Nico. 4th round for Heroic. and they don't stop. Complexity with the Deagles not finding as much success as they're used to.
Very successful spray down there from Nico. The spray down of Doom. Doom's complexity in that round. They can't do anything, especially with such little time left on the clock. They were kind of forced into going into that A site. I'm going to be really interested to see how Heroic run this first gun round, because they've been stacking that A site pretty heavily so far in these sort of anti-eco rounds. But this time round, they are stacking more heavily towards B, and those early nades will be doing some damage. Rush is down to 40 health. You can see right now, Cadian is alone on this A side of the map with an MP9. So he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders right now in this round for Heroic. But I think this is part of the reason why Heroic were happy to play Overpass. I think they're going to be switching up that setup all the time. They're going to try and be hard to predict. And if they can get these stacks successfully, then Complexity are always going to have a tough time running into these players. But let's see if Complexity can figure it out.
Just a slow default stance from Complexity. They've got one player over towards B, that's Rush. The rest working their way middle, with Poison being the one sole player off towards A long. Cadian looked like he was about to go around the corner there. He would have spotted the bomb on its own. Poison is the bomb carrier. He's repositioned back over towards middle to regroup with the rest of his teammates as they look to B split. 3 players going down through the connector, and 2 through Monster Tunnel. It's come down to whether or not Borp and Down Crossbar here is solid enough. 21 seconds. Here goes the spray. Borp with the first. The second was there available, but it doesn't work out. Complexity finding the important kills, and now they've got the B bomb site. They'll get that bomb planted, and it has to be the retake for Heroic.
2 of the Complexity players are incredibly low on health. If there was a nade, that could maybe make all the difference for Heroic. It could help them get that early kill to start that retake, but the time is already ticking on the bomb, and this boost has taken too much time. Obo lands the headshot over the top, and now Heroic have no choice but to save. The 2v4 won't be happening for them. And again, Heroic are remaining really active with these setups on the CT side. They're constantly switching them. They started with 4B in that round. Then they rotated 2 of those B players over to A. So they ended up having 3 on A and then 2 on B. So they left the B site the weaker of the 2. That's something Complexity are just going to have to try and get a read on. They're going to have to try and figure that out as this game goes on. And in that round, they were successful at doing so. They find the weak spot over on the B side of the map. And when you only have 2 CTs committed to B, there's already 2 angles you have to watch. So actually working together can be very difficult at watching both the monster in short position. And you kind of see it ends up devolving into 1v1 fights. And as soon as Complexity win the trades, they've got that round in the bag almost every time.
Ooh, Heroic. The vast majority of their players down middle early on. You've got Obo in the connector, the Molotov burning down here as well. Poison spraying away, getting the double kill. Cadian and Testas both going down, and Nico, he's down for the headshot on the AK. Now they run through the smoke. It's down with a kill. Obo, the victim, and Borb holding on this monster offensive. Blamer thinks twice about going through it, and well, he's got to win this 1 versus 3. He comes away from rushing through Monster, and now he needs to consider how he's going to win this. Still 1 minute and 10 seconds left. The Molotov cutting off his opportunity to run up through short. Instead, he turns his attentions back to connector. There's 1 player up here, and it is Stown. That nade dropping him low, and Stown with the headshot. Heroic. They are looking so much better than Complexity right now, Alex. This is a brilliant performance going into the final map.
Yeah, again, I just love this game plan from Heroic. When you know that both teams are very inexperienced on the map, if Heroic have got a few of these different setups available to them, if they've practiced well on a bunch of these different CT setups, they can make life so uncomfortable and so difficult for Complexity. Because Complexity don't have the experience to have seen all these setups in official games. Maybe they've seen this in practice, but in the official game, it's a whole different story of how you're going to react and how you're going to respond in the moment. But here comes the nade stack. Stown is out of there. 3 nades all land onto Stown's position. And that is exactly the start to the round that Complexity were looking for.
Spray up and the playground works out for Poison. Tesla's going to be kicking himself about that one. Very unfortunate stuff. And now we've got ourselves a 5 versus 3. 2-man advantage for Complexity. Poison now up towards long. This should be a round win, but Nico is just dancing in the open. He's just using the rocks as cover. Eventually, he goes down. Gideon in the connector gets one onto Oboe, but it's still a 2v3. It's within touching distance for Heroic, but Complexity hold the advantage. And Rush is going to be the player making his way through to the B bomb site, and it's empty. Oh no, they've gone for the wrong gamble, Alex. They've went back up towards A, and Complexity have gone to the polar opposite end of the map.
Yeah, this is going to happen sometimes in these sorts of rounds. When you only have 2 CTs left, it's really difficult to split up at this point. You don't really want to be just holding one on a site, knowing that 3 Ts are about to come your way. So you kind of have to just take a calculated risk, an educated guess. And unfortunately, this time round, Heroic don't get the right read to begin with. But Cadian spots the bomb crossing to the site. He gets a freebie. And now Complexity actually don't have many nades to get towards this site safely. Simply have been able to do so, though. And Rush is about to come in for this flank. Bomb is planted safely. And the question is, how fast do Heroic go? Well, BlameF gets the first man, and Rush is waiting in the wings. Cadian will be flanked out. The backstab comes through. Complexity get their 3rd round on the board. And now Heroic's money is starting to run dry.
Yeah, that's the big cash flow is starting to really drop off. Heroic starting to run out of funding. And Poison, oh, what? Down so much quicker. And that's going to be disheartening for Poison. I feel like Poison has been pretty quiet in this series so far. He had this moment over on Vertigo, but the Mirage was non-existent for the most part. 6 kills right now on Overpass. I mean, it's not awful, but still not quite the Poison performance we know he can deliver.
Yeah, especially in that series against OG, we saw how much impact Poison can have. All those multi-kill rounds you would have seen if you were watching the desk before the game. There's the preview, which was so nicely put to us by our analysts. Oh, Cadian, great timing. Rush is going to be so frustrated with that. His teammate was watching that top connector position for quite a while. And then Cadian just rounds the corner to give his team a 2nd kill and to give his team a real chance at this round. Cadian's even got the AK. Because he put that smoke down, he's able to pick up the rifle. And now Complexity can't be feeling good about the position they're in. 45 seconds left, 2 players down. They've lost that connector control to begin with. And as they move up through A long here, there are a couple of really important fights for them to win.
Config moves forward, Borb close right, but it doesn't matter. Tessa's immediately taking the head off Config's shoulders, and Oboe will shine back. Tessa's perishes at the hands of the AK-47. Falls down, delivering from behind, flanking with an AWP. This is brilliant, and while BlameF now with it all to do, he's got 2 kills and 2 more to find with 8 seconds left. That becomes impossible, but they're both running at him. What are they doing? There's only a couple of seconds to fall away. Don't give him the chance, and what they've done? BlameF pulls it off. A huge step up, and a monumental error from Heroic. It's a 4th round for Complexity that shouldn't have gone their way. There was only a few seconds left, but BlameF gets all 4.
There's no other word for it, Dinko. That's a blunder. That's the biggest blunder of the tournament so far. You can't give away that round. Look at the money for Heroic as well. Oh, I don't think Complexity can quite believe it either. They've taken a tactical timeout, probably just to calm themselves down, because I think they thought the round was over. I think they thought they were done for.
There was 1 second left. 1 second. And that's all they were behind the dice box. There was no need to peek. Just hide behind the box. Why are you both running at him with a few seconds left on the clock? Just fall back. Hide. You have so many things you can hide behind. No, that is unbelievable from Heroic. That is tilting. And all their money is gone.
That honestly could be the turning point of this first half. Complexity could go on a roll now and really start to come away with a good scoreline here. Because it was looking pretty strong from Heroic to begin with, right? These different setups were causing Complexity issues. And then just some silly mistakes cost Heroic dearly and keep Complexity in good stead. I'm still slightly gobsmacked, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the possible reasons as to why that happened. And I honestly feel like Heroic didn't know what the time was.
Maybe they were just trying to kill Blame F after time, but they went before the time, so I can't really say that.
It's just one of those moments, isn't it? Just one that you want to forget, but never will be allowed to forget because everybody's going to bring it up. And what? Rush just going down in towards middle, catches out Borb at the top of the connector. It's down left alone, trying to fall away, but Obo running over the top of him. The Mac 10 finding easy pickings. It's just Nico and Kadian left alone. And I'm surprised that it's Complexity that called the tactical pause after that. Heroic, I think, need it more so now at this point. I hope they haven't tilted too much. I've had a moment now to slow things down and really think about what they want to do going into this next gun round, because like you said, that could be the turning point of this first half, unless Heroic step up going into this next one.
Yeah, I think if you watch Complexity's team comms that they put up on their YouTube, that's probably just a timeout to calm things down, because they do get pretty hyped at times. You know, there are quite a few young players on this team. They like to get hyped up. And you've got to make sure there you just figure out exactly what's happening in the next round. You might not know if you're against a buy or an eco if you take it too quickly. So I think that's more than anything what Complexity were doing there. But man, that is rough for Heroic. They've got to put that behind them and focus on the rounds ahead. It's still a 5-5 scoreline. It's still anyone's game. Heroic get themselves a gun round into this one. And this time a stack into connector. This same boost going over the top for Nico. This has been used previously though, and the nade is dead on. Damage done to both of those players. Looked like Complexity were much more prepared for that this time after seeing it previously. And Heroic decide to give up on the boost, but they're not giving up on the aggression outright because Stown has pushed into B short. But look at this from Complexity. They're sneaking around the backside.
Oh, Blame F. Oh, clinical. 2 big kills. Securing the round here for Complexity most likely, because look at the money for Heroic. Chances of retaking this B bomb site just isn't going to happen. So within one foul swoop, it's Complexity that find themselves a 6th round, and they will take the lead here on the final map.
Blame F just tiptoeing his way onto the B bomb site there, gets himself the 2 free kills, and that's the round. I'd like to see Blame F tiptoeing. I'd imagine he could do it. Yeah, this is rough now for Heroic, because the way they've been playing, they are going to have rounds like this. They've been taking risks. I think they're aware that sometimes you are just going to lose rounds in this fashion. And something that's cool about the way that Heroic are playing right now is I've seen them do this a couple of times on Train as well, where they take these really big gambles, and then as soon as they lose 1 or 2 kills, sometimes they just know the round's over. So they know they can save their guns for the next, and they can take another risky play into the next round. So that's one of the upsides of the way they're playing, is normally if you lose the round, you are going to get to save guns. But if Complexity can start to get a read on you, that's when you really struggle. And again, another different setup for Heroic. This time, 3 players stacked on the B-bomb site, and that nade stack nearly connects, but Kadian only takes minimal damage from it, so this boost continues. And Heroic now rotating literally everyone down to B. Another risk being taken by the Danes. Let's see if it works out for them.
Testis has moved his way into water, going through the tunnel. Getting a good bit of info here. Rush now, his job is to hold for this kind of aggression, and he does it well, taking down Testis, but is he aware that Stown is in behind him? The quick answer to that is no. So he needs to be careful of that potential flank, but he should be aware there's a possibility. And with 47 seconds left, Complexity still hold the man advantage. Heroic yet to trip, but they do get the info. There's at least 1 player positioned out towards A long, and it's down to Kadian's position right now, just tucked in this corner. Does Config check it, or will he be completely preoccupied by the faking of the attention drawing from Borip? He throws the smoke down in towards long, trying to delay further. 25 seconds. He wants them to come through the smoke and the chaos to be ensued. And we'll see if Complexity can deal with the 2-man setup. But the Molotov burns away Borp. But Kadian starts to delay. What? from Config. He just turns around. Gideon goes down. That's incredible from Complexity. And just within a few seconds, they eliminate every player on a Heroic. And that is unbelievable from Config.
Yeah, as this game goes on, it just feels more and more like that earlier round was the turning point, because now everything seems to be going right for Complexity. Config with the full 180-degree turn. He's had a couple of those throughout this tournament.
Kidding. Oh, you're kidding right there. You think you've got a gold mine. Players running through the smoke, couple of seconds left. They stop thinking about all the nooks and crannies. Their main goal is getting onto the bomb site. They start to run right in front of you, not looking your way, and you don't get anything. How does that happen?
This is another new spot for Complexity to deal with. Sound's been boosted up there. Boric spotted some players at Monster. I think Sound should have heard them running away, though. I think that information will have been communicated over to the teammates. And here comes the push from Rush. He's in trouble. Okay, Sound almost caught in midair, but he just about lands the shot as he lands on the floor. So thankfully, the timing doesn't cost Stown there, because that would have been even more frustrating for Stown. He gets the kill he was looking for, and that is good from Nico. A bit of damage done onto Config. He's going back for it again. Oh, he's so close. He's not going to get any more damage by the looks of it, though. Oh, never mind. Okay.
Alex, you spoke too soon. He's had enough. He's just, when all hope was lost, you give up on him. Nico proves why you shouldn't do that. Obo, perhaps the next victim here. Nico is just firing everything. Eventually realizes he's starting to run out of ammo. Has to fall away. 37 seconds now in play. Testis currently located in the bathrooms. Around the corner is Obo. He's about to walk right into his crosshair, and it's a good kill from Testis. He wants another one, but BlameF the effective trade, but it's still a two-man advantage in play from Heroic. And now they're going to push forward. Poison again has been quiet. 6 kills. I pointed that out a long time ago, and it hasn't went up. And now Nico, the bane of their existence, is over here on this A bomb site. Rotated up, stops the bomb from safely being planted. Now Poison having to dance with death, going for the no-scope, and he's not going to find anything. Poison is having a nightmare right now. 6 and 8 still. And 7-6 on the board. Complexity, they're still in the lead, but that's a big round from Heroic. I just want to see this again. Just a little dance. Step out to the left side. Couple of bullets right to the dome of BlameF. I almost felt like that was coming, though, once BlameF started to make noise and really allow Nico to locate him through the wall.
Plenty of money for Complexity to keep their buys going into this next round, even after losing that one. If anything, it's Heroic who might have some difficulties ahead of the last round of the half if they were to lose this one. But Complexity have got all the money that they would want. And I think after seeing some of those unorthodox setups from Heroic earlier in the half, Complexity have realized their best bet is probably just to slow things down now and try and play the information game. Try and play for map control to begin with. Just figure out exactly what Heroic are doing, because Heroic have had a lot of little wrinkles in their setups. They've had a couple of cheeky boosts. They've had a couple of 4-man stacks on bomb sites. So you don't want to get caught out by that early. Nico being boosted up over the top. There was a nade stack to this position previously, but normally that's not going to happen this late in the round. So they're confident that they can get that boost going. And Cadian just lands the shot through the smoke. Poison not able to get any impact here. Cadian takes him out of commission. And Rush has also been dealt with. The double AWP setup for Heroic finding success at the start of this round.
Oh, Astound. He has a good chance here. Oh, Config. He was setting up with the utility to head in towards this B bomb site, and he gets caught on the awful timing. Stown coming off the angle now as well. He wants to go back, and that's going to cost him. Obo, his 6th kill on the map so far. 4 versus 2. Two-man advantage still in play for Heroic, and Borup can make it even more difficult now for young Obo. 12 seconds, so many players to find. The bomb not in his possession. The round is lost. It's Complexity who will be falling in this one. Heroic tying things up as we head into the last round of the first half. A close affair on this final map, Alex, and this is exactly what we wanted to see between these two teams.
Straight through the smoke from Cadian, and then we saw these shots from Stown, which were, well, more seen by Complexity, but not counted. Config given the kiss of death there as soon as he pulled his nade out. And Nico on the Heroic side is 15 for 5. He has been a bit of a beast on this B side of the map. Might see some faster aggression here from Complexity, though. BlameF taking matters into his own hands. I think he spotted that run boost. He knows there's a player behind that pillar. He's waiting for the fight, but Borup just swings out to the right side, and there's no backup for BlameF. So as soon as he loses out, it's a man disadvantage, and Complexity can't do anything about it. Config also hits the deck. Down landing 2 shots with the sniper, and it's looking good for Heroic to take the lead in the last round of the half.
Turnaround for Heroic. They had that huge blunder. Could have been an even better first half from them.
Oh.
But this is looking fantastic. Stown has really stepped it up on this final map. He has had his moments with the AWP, Kidding as well. It's 8-7, as close as you can get it. As we head into the second half, we'll see where this one goes.
On top of me, and life gets hard to bear. I've got a certain remedy to live without a care. Waiting for the weekend to be who we were born to be. Let your body do this weekend. Only one thing can set you free. I choose DreamHack, move M-Y-F-E-E-T. Nothing means that much to me. I choose You're about to lose your mind, trouble in your head. There's always a dance floor to find, to lose yourself instead. Waiting for the weekend, everyone's a VIP. The city's out for attending. Let your head down and follow me.
At the end of this half, we will have our first grand finalist. It will be Complexity or Heroic. Who knows at the moment? Heroic certainly looking like the more poised team, I would say, coming out of that first half, although they did have their moments. They were really relying on their individual skill to carry them through. We'll see if Complexity can step up into the second half. Poison, the man on your screen, has had a very quiet performance throughout Mirage and now Overpass as well, Alex. It has been a very quiet affair for him. So if he can step up on the CT side, that's something that could turn the tides for Complexity.
Yeah, most AWPers are pretty comfortable on this CT side of Overpass as well. In those bathrooms for those mid peaks, you've got plenty of plays you can make, and let's see if he gets it going with the USP. Timing not quite right there. There were players about to pop out the top of connector, but Poison goes back to a safer angle. There are 3 CTs on this A site. Both his teammates are currently positioned over on A long, but they can help out pretty quickly as soon as Poison spots these players. Now, Heroic don't have to commit to this here. They have some nades, and they're going to start to use them. Smoke goes up, flashes to follow, and here comes the push.
Oh, Stam moves forward, gets rid of Obo. Now Config tucked in the corner. He will get shut down by Borup, and Heroic are finding every single kill. It's Blame F and Rush left alone into a 2 versus 5. And it's going to be Heroic who will steam their way to a 9th round. This is brilliant. This is exactly the pistol round they were hoping for. And Rush, he just sits down in middle. Testis, he's there now at 9 HP, but Kid, he's going to go for the knife, and he shuts down Rush, cuts right through his back, and it's Blimf. A 1 versus 4, holding on. He cannot do anything but exit frags. He gets one on the Kidian, avenges his fallen teammate, but it will be a 9th round for Heroic, and any problem that they had mentally after losing that round against BlameF are probably out the window now, Alex. They have started to grind their way back into a very comfortable position, and now at 9-7, they win the pistol round. Complexity, they probably going to go with his force buy on the deagles. But this was just a good pistol from start to finish from Heroic.
Yeah, that's a scary round loss for Complexity as well, because they had 3 players ready and waiting on the A-bomb site. And sure, there was some pretty good flashbangs from Heroic, but you kind of saw some missed shots there from Complexity. Config probably should have got at least 1 kill from his position. Poison would have probably wanted to get 1 as well. And just missing shots is not a good look for Complexity based on what we know about this team. That's some good nade damage at the start of the round, though. Borup's down to half health. A couple of the other players down to just over 70 on the Heroic side. And again, it's Complexity, so they've obviously gone for the force buy in the 2nd round, considering how good they have been at winning these. Config's sitting behind the tree. He's got Blame F to back him up as well. And the A-long play looks likely to come through here from Heroic. So let's see what the Danes on the Complexity side can do on this hold.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do here. Config playing from behind the stone, behind the tree. He's got the decoy. We've seen what he can do with his gun. He's starting to move forward. So many options, though. Just too many players to try and lock in on. And Config just not the position for it, unfortunately. He does get taken down early on, and that's a man advantage in play for Heroic. And we'll be looking for a 10th. If you're Heroic, you're starting to feel pretty happy about this scenario. You're about to reach double figures against Complexity after being toyed with on the first map. You come back to win on the 2nd, and currently in the lead on the final map. 1/2 away from taking themselves to the grand final. They head into the B-bomb site. It's completely empty. No one here from Complexity. They go for the gamble stack towards the upper site, and it doesn't work. So Complexity likely to save everything into the next round, so they at least have something to play with. But it's likely, Alex, the most likely of outcomes is 11-7 for Heroic.
At least Complexity will be able to save most of their guns. That will give them some playability into the next round. But this could start to slip away from them here if they're not careful. Again, I think one of the big positives for me on the Heroic side is, firstly, just some of the individuals that are stepping up. Down especially is someone who I'm always looking for on the Heroic side to step up in these sorts of games. When they're playing against top 10 opponents, I want to see Stown showing up because there is quite a lot of hype around him. And he is still quite a young player, but he's starting to show us those signs of being able to play against these top teams. We're starting to see that a little bit more here for the Heroic side. And then, obviously, Nico was incredible throughout that first half. But Cadian also landing shots. I think throughout this Heroic squad don't really have a weak point, which is a good sign for them going forwards right now. Again, though, Complexity have those guns saved over, and Poison, with the scout in hand, lands that first shot. We always talk about Poison being proficient with this weapon. Well, he's got them off to the start they were looking for, and this is not a fight they want to take. This is not a fight you want to take with the MAC-10. Cadian playing a very dangerous game. I think he's realized it's time to give that one up and maybe go back and get the Galil.
Complexity currently holding the man advantage still instead. And while it's Heroic who will be heading their way over to the B-bomb site. You've currently got Obo positioned in towards short, Config at the or the barrels. This should be a good setup for Complexity, especially with the rest of the players converging on the site now. Heroic need these kills immediately, otherwise things might get a bit messy with the Deagles. And there's the first from Config, the damage being dealt to the second, but it's not the kill. Instead, it's Poison that finishes off his prey, and he wants more. He's had the first headshot, he's tasted blood on 2 players in this round, and he's thirsty for more. He's down in the water. Now moving forward on Heroic with 25 seconds left. Gideon ready for the short peek, and there it is. Obo and Rush with the Deagles deliver death. It's Complexity with an 8th round. They needed it, Alex, and they've got it in the bag.
Oh, great shots in that round. Across the board for Complexity. As you said, Poison kind of kicking things off with a bang on that scout. And then the Deags come in for another snap back to reality for Heroic, that this is not going to be an easy game for them. Complexity are not going to go down without fighting. They're not going to go down without swinging for these rounds. Now Heroic have got a buy, yes, but one that's a bit all over the place in terms of weaponry. Cadian's got the AWP, but he's had to go glass cannon. Early nade damage done to 2 of the Heroic players as well. 2 of them are down to half health. The aggression is also coming in for Complexity. They're trying to force Heroic back. They're trying to make Heroic give away some of this map control. I think Heroic will probably have to take a slow round now because they think they've lost that mid control. They're not entirely sure as to where Complexity are going to be stacked up here. Nico again trying to get this spam through the wall. This time not landing though. And I feel like Heroic are going to be wanting to go back towards that A side of things. They're going to want to get that A side control before they do anything else here.
Heroic just being methodical in their approach, clearing out the toilets. There's still a smoke down for the long side. And Complexity have a pretty passive setup right now. They're not aggressive. They're not in the bathrooms. They're not even trying to fight towards long. Over here in the B side of things, they got the double stack in towards Monster. It looks like they want to peek down at this point. Might just be finding a player on the other end of it. The smoke is up at the moment, but Heroic are gathering 3 players outside of this B bomb site. And that's where Obo is standing. He needs to go huge here, Obo. He's been pretty quiet, but this is the play. Double kill for Obo. A 3rd picked up, and Complexity. They will be finding a 9th round thanks to the young Obo.
Just a solid spray down from Obo in that monster position. Oh, Cadian misses at the end there. Oh, misses again. Time to play it safe, Cadian. Sit back, save the AWP. Doesn't have Kevlar, and his teammates also don't have money. And this is where Complexity are going to get themselves right back into this game. Here's that boost from the CT side of Blame F this time.
This was something we did see a lot from both of these teams, in fact. But if you remember back to the day one, we got to see Complexity on their first outing. We've seen a lot of boosts come in. Blame F was the man on top of them every time. Loving to exploit the boosted positions. But again, they do it here. And that's something Heroic were doing quite a bit, was getting players into weird positions, having lots of different setups on the CT side, trying to make it unpredictable. And it worked out for the most part. Now Poison, he has started to deliver much more over on the CT side. Another kill coming his way as he holds down in the bathrooms. The rest of the players going to be charging in towards his position. He's so aware that there's a player coming in the right side, but instead they've moved to the left side. He's confident enough to just keep walking forward. This is ballsy from Poison. He could be pushed from the left side, but he doesn't care. He knows there's a smoke up at the moment, and he's willing to take that risk. Eventually will start to fall away as the Molotov goes into position. He'll be happy with his work. He's got 1 pick, and he will fall back into the A-bomb site and allow Heroic to just sit there with a man deficit.
Now Poison will look to work with his teammates on this A site. Blame F is ahead of those smokes. Only one flash for Heroic, but it's on point. Down blinds that first man. Config gets one with the AK, make it a second. Eventually, he's traded. It's Tessex with 2 on the P250. He gets the AWP into his hands as well. A chance to try and maybe get a quick kill, to try and give himself a bit more breathing room. But with 10 seconds on the clock, time is not on his side. Tessex hunting down, but he's not going to get it. Obo plays the patience game to perfection. Complexity bring it into a 10-10 scoreline. Even Stevens here. But it's Complexity who have got the recent momentum on their side. There's the first shot from Poison. Ends up being a wallbang. And then even though Poison's quickly traded out by Tesses, he did enough for his teammates. And it's Complexity who should be favored to take the lead now, with Heroic having to go down to mostly Deegs in this one.
Complexity have turned it around here on the CT side. We've seen this before. On the first day, we've seen Complexity play against 4s. Here on Overpass, this is where they did most of their work, was on the CT side. They looked very comfortable on it. And now they're doing it again. A good bit of damage on towards Stown. Dropped to 75, but Blame F in the bathrooms. He's going to have a lot of players coming his way, but he's got a good position to deal with it. The first probably should have got more than one there, but at least he does get one. It comes to Config now to try and step up and pick the rest of the scraps up, but it's not going to happen. Down on the Deagle, delivers it again. And now Poison, he's going to miss the shot, but he goes back to middle. He won't miss twice. He takes down Down. Rush replies. And Nico getting one of the Deagle as well. We're still at an equilibrium. At 2 versus 2 with 56 seconds still in play. Where do they go with this one, Heroic? They've still got themselves in towards long. The bomb is dropped in the A bomb site. And they're just waiting for the time to strike. Potentially waiting from a peek from one of the Complexity players. But all that comes their way is a Molotov. And that's going to keep them at bay for the next few seconds. They'll start to walk forward with the bomb on the floor. Obo comes down to the time. He spot them. Gideon goes down. The spray onto 2. He just wanted the 1 kill, but they line up for him. And an 11th round picked up for Complexity as they will head into the lead here in this first semi-final of the day.
Big moment for Heroic in this round. They come close in that one, but this is where they get the guns out. This is where they get the AKs. If they lose this, then Complexity might just start to run away with this game. Blame F with that molly over through mid, but he's moving into connector. Well, there are some opponents to deal with. Poison's also switched up his positioning over to the B side of the map. He hasn't been here too often so far. Flame F is also in connector. Stown is in a somewhat uncomfortable spot right now. Flame F continues to just wait patiently, and Stown has no clue what's about to hit him, but he somehow gets away with his life. Now Blame F is the one who might be in trouble. Nico takes him out of the equation. That's not the start that Blame F wanted. He could have had a free kill there, but instead it goes against him. Now that Heroic have the man advantage, they're going to try and play across the map, going back up towards A, where Config is willing to fight, willing to try and stop them in their tracks. But he decides to just back on up.
Heroic sending multiple players down into middle.
Look at this.
There's smoke execute at the ready for this A bomb site, but they're walking into a huge trap. This is going to be deadly. Complexity should be taking this all day long. First 2 kills, make it 3. Absolutely no chance for Heroic moving in towards this A bomb site. They are dispelled, dispatched, and completely gotten rid of. It's Complexity with the 12th round picked up, and now 4 rounds is all they need to a final spot here at DreamHack Open Summer.
Shot lands at the end from Poison. Just a good read from Complexity to stack the right site there. I wonder who it was that made that call, because Blame F was the man who went down early. He could have seen everyone's POVs if he wanted to. He could have maybe made that call. Either way, the main thing that matters is that they end up winning the round and put Heroic back down to another precarious position. Deegs across the board for Heroic in this round. We've seen them win some of these in the past. This will be the perfect time to win one of these rounds. 4 players stacked towards B for Complexity early. Rush able to peek towards Monster. I'm not sure if that was a team nade, but he's certainly taken some damage from it. Either way, Heroic remaining spread across the map, but Poison's been gifted an early fight. Not looking too good for Heroic at the start here.
Oh, Rush moving forward. Aggression from Complexity. You can just see how much more confident they are. They're taking all of these fights. They're getting aggressive. The gamble stacks are all working out for them. Complexity have figured Heroic out. And now they just add one more round to the tally. Gideon standing alone. He has got an M4. The Deagle is the weapon he chooses to use, though. Is he aware that he has an M4? I don't know.
I feel like one of his teammates should tell him if he doesn't know.
Yeah. Maybe there's no ammo in it. He doesn't want to reload. But they just reloaded his Deagle, so that makes no sense. Maybe he's just not aware that he has an M4. He just keeps using the Deagle. He has a rifle. And he's dead anyway. But nonetheless, he had a rifle that entire time. Complexity will be taking themselves 13. 2 AK-47s, an AWP saved on over. And plenty of cash now for Complexity as we head into the final stages of this first semi-final.
Another buy for Heroic. Another moment where we need to see them step up under the pressure. It's definitely one of the questions for me with this team is, can Heroic step up in these tight games, in these moments where it really matters if you can get it over the line? We know that Complexity have players who are confident in these sorts of positions that are going to continue to play at their peak level. Heroic are a bit more untested in these sort of clutch scenarios, in these sorts of playoff positions. Poison waiting around at mid. Oh, there's the shot he was looking for. Head of Borup is all he needs to get that kill. Poison is starting to step up now on this CT side. Again, a bit of a quieter series for him, but that will be forgiven if he can continue to step up here on the CT side of Overpass. Config, though, caught in connector. Timing doesn't go his way. Flame F on the back of the smoke gets that kill he was looking for. And Cadian's not in a position to trade. Meanwhile, over at B, Stound's got 2 players on this right-hand side. He's not going to get either of them, though. Obo lands that first shot, and now Cadian looks to make a play.
Gideon moves forward, and it's Poison with the kill. Gideon going down, it's just Nico. Left alone into 1 versus 4 with 44 seconds left in play. Nico has to figure out what he's going to do. Into the bathrooms. He does head, and now Poison around to the left side. He's got the sniper at the ready. Nico walking into his crosshair, and it's Poison that secures it. 3 kills in the round, 18 and 13. I was talking about if Complexity can have Poison step up into the second half, that's another level that Complexity reach. He's such an important player for them. And when he's not there, you can really feel it in the Complexity roster. 2 rounds now away from victory. 2 rounds away from the grand final spot here at DreamHack Open.
It's only pistols for Heroic in this one. They've got quite a few nades.
This could be running towards B. And while it seemed that Complexity weren't going to be there on time, they were very slow to get to the mark, but utility usage is good, Alex.
Oh, Heroic are still all grouped up at Monster, still stacked here. They haven't really run a fast speed play, but with 4 CPs on the site, this has got to be the end of Heroic, or maybe not. The Tech-9s get all the kills they need. Flame F up close with the first. Does get the second, but not before the bomb gets planted. So it's into a 2v2, and Heroic have themselves rifles.
BlameF has the smoke as well, so if he smokes off towards short, that's going to allow them to cross to the bomb site. Or Molotov, that works as well. Borb has a molly lined up, though. That's going to go onto the site itself, but it doesn't reach. It's a terrible Molotov. And now they can just get onto the bomb. Poison dives forward, but the flashbang is good. Borb peeks around the corner, knows they're not on the bomb, and the pressure is there again. A flashbang from Nico keeps delivering. BlameF now onto the bomb site. Time is ticking, so far gone. It's not going to be a round win here. BlameF realizes he's going to get out of dodge. It's going to be Heroic staying alive. 11 rounds picked up. And that's just a good old B-Rush coming in with the low buy. The Tech-9s create enough chaos in the site that they can take down 3 players. BlameF tries his best. You know, if he denies the bomb plant here, Alex, that's when we see the round win, probably going in favor of Complexity. But the fact they get that bomb down, the angle wasn't quite there for BlameF. And that delivers Heroic another round.
First time out from Heroic, even though we are late in the day, late in the game. Heroic obviously have Hunden sitting behind them, who's worked with some of these players before. In particular, Borup was on his previous lineups. Again, though, Heroic in that round, just coming up with some heroics, honestly. Getting that round win is huge for them. getting onto the B site to begin with seemed like a tough task, and that was the first time they've really switched it up with a faster play. So a strong sign there that Heroic can win that one, but we still need to see what they have up their sleeve for the gun rounds. What do they have in mind when they've got the full rifles? You can't just rely on those fast plays to carry you through in the gun rounds. At least you wouldn't expect those to continue to work. And here comes BlameF pushing his way into mid. Early nades landing both ways. The molly allows him to move all the way into playgrounds, and that's always an awkward position to deal with.
Well, down quick through. The flashbangs have been so good for Heroic in these last couple of rounds, really delivering 3 kills to the Complexity players. And they've got the B bomb site, they've got that bomb planted, and that should be enough. Complexity are going to have a real tough time with going back into that site if they attempted it, and they don't really have the money. So it has to be the safe call from Complexity. And Heroic, they're on the comeback trail, Alex. They are winning rounds, and they're starting to get into the groove of things.
Just in general, I think Heroic are a team who have really good flash assists, for the most part, on most maps. On the T side especially, I think they're really effective with them. I'm looking up the stats right now. In this game, Cadian has 8 flash assists, according to HLTV. That's a fantastic stat to have. Setting up his teammates very nicely so far. Complexity saving over what they can. That should keep them buying into this next one. And, well, I was saying that I don't expect those fast B plays to continue to work into the gun rounds. Maybe I'm wrong, because that worked out fine for Heroic. They got those 2 kills at Monster. I'm sure Complexity will be talking about what needs to happen, what needs to change for them to make sure they can get this win. But this one is going down to the wire, just as we were hoping so, Dinko. 14-12, we are getting a close decider map here for that spot in the final.
A real fight on map number 3. This is what we wanted to see. The first 2 maps were one-sided. But map number 3 has delivered. We said at the start, we joked about wanting the Complexity from Vertigo and the Heroic from Mirage. And we've come across that, Alex. We've managed to have all the stars align. Both teams performing well here on the final map, and with 1 minute and 5 seconds left, they're heading their way in towards long. We've got Poison here, positioned with the AWP. The flashbangs have been amazing here for Heroic, and the run around the corner is going through, but Poison not peeking. Instead, he walked into the crosshair. Cadian going down. That's sometimes Poison's negative attribute. He doesn't know when to fall back. He goes into the open after his grit initial kill and gives away his life. And now we're right back into a 4 versus 4. There's 39 seconds in play, and Complexity, they look to hold on, but Heroic have fully committed to the A side of the map.
Jump Peak would have spotted that information. As you said, though, I think Poison could just fall back there. You've got more long-range angles to work with on that AWP on the site, but 22 seconds. Heroic have to get a move on. They're still not really lining up their nades. It's mainly going to be a contact play with the flashes, but it's a lineup for BlameF. Config helps him out as well. And Nico is not winning this one, and he knows it. He's having to save. It's Complexity up to map and series point, and more importantly, grand final point. They've got 3 chances to get this one over the line. And thankfully, Nico will be able to save the AWP for Heroic's sake, so they will have at least a little bit more into this round. But this is the lineup for BlameF. The nade and AK combo just completely stops Heroic in their tracks.
Yeah, Complexity, that's a good round from them, but I also want to touch on the point of how it wasn't a good round for Heroic.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way we can put it. They played that one pretty poorly. They had the opportunity in towards long. I think it could have even went worse for them if Poison had fallen back after that initial kill. If he'd fallen back in towards long, or if he went back to the site and used the utility from his teammates, because he certainly had teammates available, he could have fallen back into the site. Complexity could have shut that one down easily. But in the end, they do the same. Heroic take a little too long. They realized at this point, we can't really set up our utility. We have to just go for the contact play. They rushed in with the limited time, and of course, that's never going to favor them. The CT side just ready, taking 3 kills as they run in dry. Complexity now just 1 away from that grand final. Heroic, 12 rounds. They need 3 more in a row just to pull it back to overtime. We'll see if they have the fight in them, or will it be Complexity locking in their grand final spot?
Down solo, pushing short at the start of this round, getting his team a good bit of map control. 4-man B stack to begin with for Complexity. We've seen this come through in quite a few rounds for them. Now still going to go for the solo play, and the Galil wins that first fight. There's a second man up close. He has to be very careful here, does Down. He finally decides to fall back, giving his team the man advantage. Now over on the A side of things, Poison has to be very, very careful there. Poison's been caught. The A site's open. It's wide open, and Heroic should have this round now. Even though Down goes down, the A site is gone.
It is, and well, Heroic, they're going to get this bomb planted. If Complexity want to go for this, they're going to have to fight a very unfavorable retake. And they haven't got a whole lot of money, so the call is to save the AK-47s over towards T-spawn. And I think it's the right decision, but this one Heroic are going to be very happy with. They'll be picking themselves up a 13th round. And now they are only 2 away from tying things up and sending us to overtime on this final map.
Definitely looks like we're going the distance, and it definitely looks like Heroic have had a better time of things when they've started to just up the pace. You think back to that previous round where they struggled to get onto the A site, that's when they pushed with only 20 seconds left, but the faster play onto A catches Complexity off guard. They had 4 players stacked on B, so as soon as Poison goes down, it's round over. And if Heroic can keep up that pace and keep up the success with their early plays, it could very well be in for an overtime here. 4th out for both teams. Complexity just about able to scrape together another buy. And we haven't seen this nade stack from Heroic so far. And it goes over the top, and Config is a dead man. Rush takes a bit of damage as well. And in such an important round, that is a really nice start for Heroic. That just takes the pressure off slightly. You know you've already got the advantage. You've put yourself in a good position to try and get that 14th round on the board.
Gone untraded as well. Complexity not really in the position to do so. And look at this. They're making the call to send everyone towards A. They don't think it's going to be a B hit, but the bomb is currently outside of the B bomb site. Not in the back of anyone, just lying there on the floor. But it seems like Heroic, that's always going to be their decision, to go back to this B bomb site. And Complexity, they're not there. They're on the other end of the map. This is where this gamble stack isn't going to work out. We've seen it work out before for them, but this is gambling, right? You go for it. It can maybe work out, but this is that one time. And it doesn't here for Complexity. As Heroic head their way through the monster tunnel, the rest of the squad making their way through. The utility usage will be heard by Complexity. They realize they are heading in towards this B bomb site, and with the bomb planted, that confirms it. Well, there we go. Kadian fumbles a little bit, gets it done nonetheless. But now Complexity probably having to save again. And 15-14, we're right down to the final round of regulation here in this final map. Heroic could pull this to overtime.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about this stack for Complexity is that you either have a 4-man A stack, which is pretty likely to win you the game, or you just save for the last round where your money would have been up for question anyway. But obviously, into the last round, Heroic can afford to hunt. They can try and take away some of these guns. They can try and keep Complexity limited. That's what they're looking to do at the end here. All these kills are going to matter, and 2 of them come through for Heroic. That's going to force rebuys for Complexity, and oh, they keep on going. Everyone dying at the end there. And look at Complexity's money, Dinko. I was saying they're probably going to get to save some guns. I was wrong. They've got to do it with weak weapons. They've got to do it with Deegs, with MP9s, with a FAMAS on Oboe. This is where they have to have someone step up on the Complexity side. If you've got a pocket strat that you've saved until this moment, this is the time to pull it out, because it's round 30 and Heroic's buy is way better than Complexity's.
How has this all gone so wrong? Heroic, they've got a full buy, everything you could want. All the bells and whistles, the AWP around the AKs, but they have taken damage. The scout from Poison dishing it out, taking down Testis to 30 HP early. It's aggression from Blimep around the corner. The MP9 rattling away. Nico going down, and an AK picked up for Complexity to play with. Now they've got to figure out what they want to do. A 5 versus 4 with Complexity holding the advantage. Damage inflicted upon Testis. They could still win it here and now, and this would be the Complexity way of doing it. Heroic are trying their best to work their way into this, to try and force us to overtime, to give us those bonus rounds, and to keep their grand final dream alive. But Complexity, with 55 seconds remaining in the round, still hold the man advantage.
Yeah, that gives them a bit of wiggle room, getting that AK into their hands as well. And right now, Complexity still have that long control. If Heroic start to move through the bathrooms, they could be in trouble because they only have this area of the map.
Oh. Will they expect the aggression though of Comfy? He's pushed all the way up. They need to check both sides of long. He makes the noise here, Katie, and that draws the attention of Comfy. And he's going to not have the trigger discipline. He goes for the shots, but it's Poison that finishes off Cadian. And it's all crumbling here for Heroic. It looks like Complexity might just be able to do it. But it's Testis coming in with the AK. It's Poison that falls victim to the rifle. And that might just recover the round here for Heroic. They get the bomb planted. Config has now found himself an AWP. He's coming back in from the long side. Still the man advantage for Complexity, but Heroic, they've got the post-plant positions. 2 down in towards the bathroom. Down close at the flower beds, and he peeks up for the spray away. He'll get 2 on the lineup. Testis with another kill into the round, and it's just young Obo left alone in a 1 versus 2. The nade gets the first, but it's just Borip. Obo goes to the bomb. No kit, but there's the smoke. It starts to fade away, and Borip will secure it. It's overtime. Coming right up here on the final map. Heroic not done yet. They do not give up. And even in a round where they lose the first 2 players, Heroic still battle back to compete.
Oh, Heroic keeping themselves in this one. We are going into overtime. 16k starting money as well, so we can see those orbs come out in full force if both teams want them. We'll get to see the full gun rounds because the economy was absolutely a factor as that game went on. Complexity thought they might have done enough with the weak guns, but not meant to be. Stoud's spot was so nice as well. He didn't peek off the initial flashbang. That was the thing I think that threw Complexity off slightly. They would have assumed that he might have peeked with that first flash, but instead he waited a little bit longer, got that double spray down, and got his team into this position. And we get a tech pause to build up the suspense even longer, Dinko.
I think we all need a little breather after that one. That was quite an impactful round with lots of action coming through. Config, he has been a beast from map number 1. Second round delivers an ace with a deagle over on Vertigo. And since then has had moments across the board. I have to say though, I really want to sing the praises of Nico throughout this series as well. He has been so impactful for Heroic. Stoud as well. Good performances from these guys. And this is a performance that Heroic can be very proud of. They've always had to fight back into this series. A dominant loss over on Vertigo, coming back to win convincingly on Mirage. And here on Overpass, throughout the first half, looked like the better side, to be honest. When it flips over to the C2 side, that's when Complexity started to turn it up a gear. They started to look like the team that were going to be taking this in regulation, looking like the team that would confirm themselves that grand final spot. But Heroic, even when they're up against the ropes, when their backs are against the wall, they have come back into this series fighting and now reach overtime, where they might just be able to kit themselves a grand final spot and play against the winner of our next series.
The series has almost had it all. It's had the knife kill. He had a Zeus kill as well, actually, from Cadian. But there's still more left in this one. So many rounds where there have been stacks on either side, some successful, some not. I doubt we're going to get much of that into overtime, though. Now that you have the full money to be able to go for every round, those full-on stacks onto sites probably aren't as viable because you need to be competing for pretty much every round win. Nice nade stacks coming in there as well. I think that's been something that Heroic have probably had the edge in, is the utility battle. I know both teams have got nades off those nade stacks. They've got kills off those nade stacks, but just the flashes for Heroic at times have been really effective as they've pushed onto some of these sites. Into overtime, they're going to have to keep that up. And you can also see just the kill distribution for both teams pretty even across the board, especially for Complexity. I think we have had basically all the players step up throughout this series, which is a great sign for both of them heading into overtime. And I can see the countdown starting, Dinko. We're about to get underway into it. Let's see what the buys look like for both teams. Complexity have the ability to go for the 2 orcs, but they decide not to. Poison sticking with the 1 sniper for the time being.
Overtime begins. Complexity. They reach map point first, but Heroic fight back. They needed 3 in a row. And the utility coming into the B-bomb start early on. Heroic have sent players into water early on. BlameF is already up here in the connector at the bottom of the stairs. Nico, with a good bit of utility still available, want to walk forward as BlameF tucked in the corner. Slower approach from Heroic, but the vast majority of the players leaning over towards B. This will be the important fight. BlameF, if he can win a couple of these fights, then he can certainly put Complexity in a very strong position. He wins the first fight, but Borup is there and is effective in the trade.
Yeah, a couple of times now where BlameF has been completely alone in connector. It's always difficult to get away with an advantage from that position. You're normally going to get a 1-for-1 trade at best. Poison falls back off the angle just as a player peeks it. Smoke goes down and Complexity are almost out of nades. Single molly and a single nade left for them. Same could be said for Heroic though. I was talking about how good their flashes were previously. This round's just going to come down to the shots. That's their final smoke moving into the A site now. No nades left for Heroic. They have to land the kills.
Well, Cadian is there. Poison will fall. There's the first kill. And Heroic have just got themselves that opening kill. Fourth crossing on over into the corner. The man advantage in play for Heroic. In Complexity, they've had a lot of scenarios where they've had to save their weapons. They haven't been able to attempt the retakes for the vast majority of the end of regulation. But now with overtime, they can definitely go for it. They start to run on in, but it's Cadian with the first kill and the second as well. What a big round from Cadian. 16-15. Heroic will take the lead. The first round of overtime goes their way.
Nice shots coming through from Cadian. Definitely someone who's going to be able to step up in some of these rounds. It's always nice having a player like him on your team because you know that every now and then, whoa. A P90, Dinko. A P90 in overtime. Now I've seen it all.
Semi-finals, overtime on the last map. Borup with the P90 sprinting through the B-bomb site. Let's see if it works out. All the matchmaking kids will be loving this, and it's one from Borup. He goes for another, and he at least gets 1 kill for the purchase, but the rest of the squad need to do much more, and rushes the anchor, holding on. Multiple kills go his way, but it's still a 2 versus 2. It's still anybody's round, as Nico runs to the bomb site for the plant.
Oh, nade nearly takes him out entirely. He's down to 16 health. He goes for the AWP, but Poison's there to deny. And now this smoke is going to be so difficult for Stown to deal with. There's still a second smoke in the hands of BlameF, which could come through. So even though Complexity are waiting pretty patiently here, they have a second smoke as soon as they spot Stown. That could be the difference maker. P90 picked up by Poison now. He's trying to use it against them, but it's not going to work. Stown lines them up, gets both of those kills, and Heroic get another round win off the back of Stown.
Stown has had so many MVP performances in these rounds. He's been incredible throughout this entire series. I think, again, him and Nico have been the 2 shining lights for this Heroic side. They have been very impressive to watch. Currently 24 kills in each of them. Cadian has just stepped up in the previous round as well. So we have got a very exciting Heroic team with these youngsters stepping up. And where are they going to go with this one now, Heroic? The CT side was the stronger affair, remember. If you're just tuning in, Complexity starts to look good on the CT side. They weren't so great on the T side for the majority, but it was a close affair nonetheless in the first half. So Heroic winning T rounds, which was certainly their weaker affair, is very impressive. Now we head over to the second half. They might just have a flawless lead under that belt. It's a good start for Borup. The entry frag is his. Cadian as well following up, and Stown answering through as well. BlameF and Poison, the 2 remaining players And they've got to find a way to make this work, and it just isn't going to happen. It just won't. As Testis disallows Flame after easy skip passage near key spawn. Poison goes for the no-scope, at least a little bit of flare, but the round is done nonetheless. It's Heroic with a flawless half in overtime, and now they have 3 chances to grab that grand final spot. It's tilting for Complexity, it's heartbreaking, but it's looking like Heroic will be the team heading to the grand final of DreamHack Open Summer.
Yeah, this Heroic squad have been on the rise recently. They've turned into one of the top Danish teams. I think they've probably taken that second spot at this point. They've got to be up there.
Definitely.
And this is a chance for them to really prove that. Getting into the grand final would be a big moment for these guys. It would really start to prove that they are one of the top teams, that they can compete at this level. As for Complexity, they would have probably been expecting to make it to this grand final. This is probably what they wanted heading into this tournament. They were one of the top-ranked teams. They've got to dig deep to keep that dream alive.
They had so many opportunities, Alex, to take it over the line. They had map point. Round after round, Heroic clawed their way back, and they haven't looked back since. It's been Heroic in every front, but that's a missed shot, a missed opportunity for Cadian. He stays alive, though. That could have been an opening kill for Heroic. We'll see if it comes back to bite them. Complexity taking their time. 55 seconds on the timer. Still, no one falling on the server. A good bit of map control gain and a lot of info for Heroic. They know what's going on. Complexity have no one leaning towards this B-bomb site. Rush, who in their defaults is tasked of holding the B-bomb site pushes, has gathered up with the rest of the squad, and they look to hit this A site. As Cadian holding in the bathrooms for this initial kill.
Setup looks strong. Cadian with the first kill. Looks for a second. Quick scope lands. And Cadian keeps going. 3 kills on the hold. And he could be sending Complexity packing here. The in-game leader carries them through. Cadian steps up. And it's Heroic who take the victory. What a win for these guys.
Yeah, Heroic heading to the grand final. That's not exactly what anybody expected. We know they're one of the better teams within this tournament. We certainly know they could do damage. But against the likes of Complexity, no one could have expected this. But Heroic, they're the team that reached the grand final first. They lock in their spot to play against the winner of OG versus Binge. And I'm looking forward to seeing this team compete again. I think Heroic are certainly looking like a team to keep an eye on. They've got all the roles, they've got the individuals, they have all the pieces required for making a great team. And it's on the rise. They've got a great coach behind them. I'm looking forward to seeing what Heroic can do in that grand final. We'll be right back after the break.